so like pearls. So one thing I was thinking today is that we've gone through a lot. It's been many months and we've done a lot. And I want to say to a person like Mother Sangeeta, I don't know how you do it. I've been in pain all morning and I didn't even know how I was going to make it here today. I took everything possible. And yes, I even did a scream. I don't understand how people deal with pain. But anyway, I must be becoming a better person because I'm here this morning. It's not, it makes me laugh. I can't believe that I'm actually, doing this like that. But anyway, I'm happily situated talking about Krishna. So one thing is that we went through different books. And I feel as though the Japa Reform Notebook enabled us to understand what chanting Hare Krishna was about and a lot of the mistakes that we were making in our attempt to chant Japa. And it showed us pitfalls, things that we should look out for. And above all, it helped us understand the importance of Club 16.4, that of all the instructions of the spiritual master, the one to chant 16 rounds, at least 16 good rounds daily on beads, and to follow those 4 regulative principles of freedom is the most important instruction. I thought that was also very, very nice for us because it lets you see that this chanting of Hare Krishna is extremely important. If it's the most important thing of all the instructions the spiritual master gives you, it has to be important. Therefore, we have to give it our full attention. And because we're chanting for such a short time, even when we chant for decades, it's still such a short time to be chanting the holy name, to be associated with Vaishnava understanding, Vaishnava etiquette. So we have a long way to go. But at the same time, these were good instructions that we got. We talked lightly about the Shashastika with Boyjan Prabhu's Japa and understanding different keys, different techniques, tools that we could put in our kit when approaching the holy name. But the main thing is always remembering that the holy name is Krishna. Krishna is a person. He's different from us. He's not under the influence of the 3 modes of material nature. Material nature has nothing to do with Krishna, except be his servant, his energy. But Krishna is completely aloof from this manifestation. And he has such an affection for us that he's coming in so many ways. And the main way for us, especially during this time, he comes in the form of Nam Prabhu. And it's Krishna. The other day when I was laying on the floor in pain, I couldn't chant my japa, I couldn't sit up, I couldn't do anything. And I'm not the type of person who's going to just remember Krishna at the time of death. I'm going to require help, okay? Because I'm thinking I'm hurting. But I remember, like automatic, the mantra just kicked in and the mantra started going on in my head. Nice tune, just the mantra going on. And hearing that mantra, I was able to take shelter of that mantra and let it override the pain. It didn't matter because I was with Krishna. And I'm telling you, this is called causeless mercy because I'm a regular guy. I'm not a guy who's walking around, oh yeah, I got Krishna, it's like that. It's not like that for me. But Krishna's so kind. It's like being in a supermarket in a line and you get up to, it's your turn and they ringer things up and you're a little short. What are you going to do? Well, Krishna, he carries what we lack, so he makes up the rest. So I'd like to do a little meditation this morning, reflection meditation. First, I would like us to just center ourselves and be a little calm. And think of how grateful we are that we have this opportunity to come together collectively and glorifying Krishna and Radha by calling out this mantra. And make Srila Prabhupada so pleased with us by diligently trying to chant Hare Krishna nicely. So there's two already. We Radha and Krishna, and we can please Srila Prabhupada by our endeavor. So I like to just think, empty everything out. There's no worries, no frustrations. You have nothing to do for the next few minutes. Nothing at all. Just settle yourselves. We're trying to hear the holy name. We're trying to develop a relationship with Radha and Krishna. And this is the methodology. This is the way that they've given us the situation. Now, the only problem is, as we're sitting here, sometimes our mind tries to be like a naughty kid, distractive. But we're going to take the words of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, and we're going to use these words that we've heard before. But today, in our meditative state, we're just going to remain calm. And we're going to listen. And we're going to let Srila Bhakti Siddhanta lead us in dealing with our mind and body and accepting the new situation that we're about to approach. And yes, I'm going to something old. We're waking up from the dream. When the soul slowly awakens from the dream of material life, it can understand that it has long served ungrateful masters, the mind and body. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes, at that time, the awakened soul says, in effect, to the mind and body, I am not identical with you. I do not want what you require. I have long believed that I was identical with both of you and that we shared the same interests. But now, I find that I am categorically different from you. I am made holy from the principle of self-consciousness, while both of you are made of dead matter. I refuse to be a slave anymore. Vaishnavism, real and apparent. Just let it settle in. Let it touch us. The fact that we are aware that we have served the body and the mind diligently for so long. The fact that we realize that we're completely different. They're dull matter and we're spirit, we're consciousness. We're made of the same element as Krishna. We're so close that actually the only difference from us and Krishna is that we're very minute and he's the reservoir of everything. Actually, as we go on our journey of self-realization, when we look deeply, trying to find ourselves, we're going to find that we don't even own ourselves, that actually we belong to Krishna. Therefore, in trying to find the self, we find the self of the self. We find Krishna. And as we find Krishna, we find ourselves there in whichever capacity as Das, Anudas. That's who we are. We're eternal servants of Krishna. When all the facades, when everything is taken back, we're rightfully situated at the lotus feet of Krishna as a servant. And the only way to let this situation become manifest in our lives is to take serious the chanting of his name. Understanding that Krishna's name, form, fame, pastimes, they're all non-different and they're not material. It's all 100% spiritual. Let's just reflect on the reality that we have found the love of our life. We belong to Krishna. We're waking up from the dream. We think that this material existence is the reality. It is the dream. This is the dream. And we take it as the all in all. And the all in all is that we just did a short reflection, a meditation on who we actually are. We don't even belong to ourselves. We're servants. We belong to someone. And so, in that state of remembrance, this is the understanding we want to have when we chant our japa. We want to chant our japa aware of the fact that we've abandoned a relationship that is there for us, aware of the fact that we're loved from the gate, always looking for love in all the wrong places, love which is temporary. So many unrequited love affairs, which are not actually real love. But real love is exemplified with service. And Krishna, he's so amazing that he's constantly coming after us. Although we've been so rebellious, he won't let us go. He's there in the heart as Paramatma, Chaita Guru. He won't let us go. He speaks to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. It gets written down. And the instruction and the protection to get us out of this material tabernacle, he won't let us go. Externally, he sends his representative, the spiritual master. Brahmanya Brahmate Kon, Bhagavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Bij, the spiritual master. By some good fortune, we're wandering all over, but by some good fortune, we get a desire. And Krishna sends Guru and Krishna together, the bead, the seed of devotion becomes implanted. The Bhakti Lata Bij. This is because the Guru understands Krishna's heart. Krishna wants us back. He's in love. He can't help it. He's in love. We're servants and we have something that he wants, each and every one of us. We're not special. Remember, he has countless. There's no number of how many servants he has. And we're just one insignificant servant. But Krishna's amazing. He doesn't want to let anything get away from him. So he wants us all back. Then here comes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya, the ultimate taster, wanting to taste the sweetness that Radharani, that the devotee is tasting. Therefore, he descends. But he doesn't just come like that. No. He comes with Krishna in an easily understandable form. He comes Shabda. He comes with the sound, Krishna and the holy name, Krishna. Lord Nityananda says, take it. Take this Mahamantra. Just take it. No cost. Take it. Rupa Goswami says, all we need is a little sincerity. Just a little faith. Take that little faith and put it in the right association. That spark begins to fan. Keep it in good association. Devotees are not ordinary people. They're servants of Krishna. They hold Krishna in their heart. They have Krishna in their mind. They have Krishna on their tongue. Krishna Katha is infectious. Devotees don't give boga. They give Krishna's mercy. They give Krishna prasad. This is what happens in the association. You watch their life and your faith becomes strengthened. You hear, you associate, and you say, I can do this too. Rupa Goswami's Adal Shraddha, Sadhu Sango, Bhajana Kriya. You decide from your understanding that now I can approach the spiritual master. And he's going to give you your connection with Krishna. Take this mantra. So this is what we're at. And this is why we have Japa Rehab. This is why we forget the intensity of the loving relationship, which is there. As we move further, you've heard so much of the sweetness and this Nam Rahasya. You've heard the sweetness of the holy name, the sweetness of the relationships. We've been in the mood of separation. What if the boy introduced it? Oh my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? Because of my not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved one, what shall I do now? Do we feel like that about Krishna? Srila Prabhupada, coming aboard the Jaladuta, coming here for us. I mean, this is love. On the order of his spiritual master, he's coming to save us, having heart attacks, saying that it was only the nectarine of Chaitanya Charitamrita that kept him moving. Srila Prabhupada, finally, he wrote a poem to Krishna as he got close, and he said, today that remembrance of you came to me in a very nice way, because I had a great longing for you. I called out to you. You're my very dear friend, and I need your association so much. Do we chant our japa like this? We need to. So the first thing is to come back to the reality of chanting Hare Krishna is one of the greatest benedictions we've ever been given. This is the opulence of our life. You know, to finger the beads and count the pearls, not dropping one of them. They're so valuable. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So valuable. And then the prayer comes again. My dear Lord Krishna, for so long I've abandoned you in the material world. But today, I am your sincere and serious servant. Please engage me in your service. So we're ready. We want to approach the holy name as a person. We want to sober up. And your association makes me strong. When I speak about these things, I have no choice but to say, you got to be better, Hari. Krishna didn't want Arjuna to be, a fake, So you have to take it to heart. Because you don't have a qualification and you realize this is serious, you're going to have to pray harder and ask Krishna to please help you. You're going to beg Srila Prabhupada. I know Srila Prabhupada to help me. I know Prabhupada loves us. So I don't feel funny at all begging Srila Prabhupada. Please help me. Prabhupada, I'm weak. Please make me better. We have so much to do. You've given us such a task. Lord Chaitanya and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta gave it to you. Please help. Make me better. Make me strong. We're not afraid to pray. Vandanam is one of the big 9. So we use it. So I just wanted you to be able to reflect, because we're going to move more into our understanding of the holy name, our relationship with it, getting better, sharing our experiences, making sure that we don't speak for Japa, making sure that there's Krishna Katha in our association, making sure that we're not frivolous in our inquiries. Our inquiries have to be done with submission and humility. This is the Sangha we need. This is the association we want. The whole association makes chanting Hare Krishna easy. It becomes available. But to speak, we're asking Krishna to take a seat in our filthy heart. And at the same time, because Nam Prabhu was so merciful, as we chant, he cleanses it. we'll go there further. So that's my introduction. We're going to go back to the Nam Rahasya, and there's a nice section that we're going to do today. We're not going to do much there. We're going to do a few things, as I said. And the Nam Rahasya, Drona, I believe we're at the point that says, yes. Wow. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's 8 powerful instructions to attain prema. All right. You know, I don't want to cheat you, Mother Shobha Radhe. You're so good for me. I'll just do 1 or 2. In his famous Shashastika prayers, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given all sadhakas a wonderful roadmap to lead them towards pure love of God. After establishing the holy name's tremendous glories in the first verse, he points his finger at the main cause of inattention in chanting, offenses. In the third sloka, he describes the symptoms of an offenseless chanter as humility, tolerance, compassion, indifference to worldly honors, and a genuine respect for others. The fourth verse encourages devotees to give up material motivation and to approach selfless devotion. In the fifth verse, the Lord takes the role of a conditioned soul and throws himself before Krishna's lotus feet, confessing his helplessness and the need for his special mercy. In the sixth verse, Lord Chaitanya prays for the genuine bhav, divine love. Come on, Mother Shobha Radhe.
The last 2 verses describe how the chanter becomes a follower of Srimati Radharani and worships Krishna as a resident of Raja in the moods of Vipralambha, separation, and Sambhoga, union. I would encourage all readers seriously interested in progressing in chanting to read the Sikshashtaka prayers and to make themselves familiar with the commentaries on them by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In addition, they might like to study Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Harinam Chintamani and Bhajan Rahasya. Of the 2, Bhajan Rahasya specifically describes how to progress in chanting using the Sikshashtaka's instructions in a detailed and systematic way. The stages to perfection, a summary of the Nama Bhajan journey. There are 5 stages in the ascending ladder of spiritual perfection: hearing, acceptance, remembrance, attaining one's spiritual form, and perfection. Let us start with Shravanadas, the stage of hearing. Number 1, Shravanadas, stage of hearing. Shravanadas is that blissful stage when devotees hear from a qualified guru about sadhana and sadhya. They learn how to develop the qualifications to chant, then to chant without offense, and how to chant while yearning for the perfection of pure love of God. Gradually, devotees at this stage increase their number of rounds because their taste for chanting has developed to such a degree that they feel unable to live without the holy name. As you can see, the stage of Shravanadas covers a huge terrain, beginning with initial appreciation and spanning to deep absorption and relish. Number 2, Varanadas, stage of acceptance. Varanadas is the stage at which devotees become qualified to receive Premanam. At this point, they have received their spiritual master's heartfelt blessings, and through these blessings have become empowered by spiritual energy, Shakti Sanchara. The technical difference between Shravanadas and Varanadas is that at this stage, devotees are chanting without offense and are focused on their eternal relationship with Krishna. Acceptance relates to the fact that they have accepted both the reality of rasa and their own service position in it, and they begin to chant based on that acceptance.
Mother, I want to stop here. Okay, Drona, do we have the Shashastika prayers?
Yes.
Okay. The reason I stopped here is because where we are trying to make sure that we chant the holy name and establish a relationship. And those first two stages, we've already exceeded our situation. But there is a methodology which will enable us to come to these stages and to go further, as has already been explained earlier this morning, by taking shelter of the Shashastika prayers. These are the prayers that are in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it's so sweet here. I learned, when I was a young man, I learned different translations, but this is the translation that Borijan Prabhu uses, and this is the one that Srila Prabhupada made for us. So I think this will be good for us. And so the goal is that we begin to really break apart and study these prayers, these 8 stanzas. That's all that's been left, but they're so powerful. So let's go to the first one. Cheto Dharpana Marjanam Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kaivara Chandrika Vitiranam Vijavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Pranamritaswadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Let there be all victory for the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna, which can cleanse the mirror of the heart and stop the miseries of the blazing fire of material existence. That chanting is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all living entities. It is the life and soul of all education. The chanting of the holy name of Krishna expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. It gives a cooling effect to everyone and enables one to taste full nectar at every step. Made the wrong move. In the Japa book by Borijan, which is on the other side of the room, and I'm too compromised to go get it. I'm telling you, it's a bad morning, but I'm very enthusiastic. But the breakdown, of the explanation that Borijan Prabhu gives, not only takes, the different aspects of the holy name, the different effects from chanting, and breaks them down. That I would like us to focus on. Can you do it, Hari? Can you do it? But what can I do, Drona?
What are you looking for?
I want to, because instead of going through all the Shashastika, well, I tell you what, may the Mother Shobharade today can read them all, and we know that we're going to take one at a time. Okay? That is
okay. The way they have them in the CC, as we were doing them, they're broken. They're not in sequence.
Well, give a couple more.
Yeah, I can bring. We can do it. It's just
Mother Shobharade read them.
back and forth. It's okay.
I'll see if I can do something here.
Yep, it's good.
Mother, you can start whenever you're ready.
You want me to read just the translations?
The verse, the Sanskrit and the translation.
Okay. Nam akari bahuda nija sarva saktis tatrarpita niyamita smarane nakala etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaivam idrasham ihajani nanuraga. My Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, in your holy name there is all good fortune for the living entity, and therefore you have many names such as Krishna and Govinda by which you expand yourself. You have invested all your potencies in those names, and there are no hard and fast rules for remembering them. My dear Lord, although you bestow such mercy upon the fallen, conditioned souls by liberally teaching your holy names, I am so unfortunate that I commit offenses while chanting the holy name, and therefore I do not achieve attachment for chanting. Trinadapi sunichena taror iva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. One who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, and who does not expect personal honor, but is always prepared to give all respect to others, can very easily chant the holy name of the Lord.
Oops.
Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagad ishakamaye mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir ahaitu tvai. O Lord of the universe, I do not desire material wealth, materialistic followers, a beautiful wife, or fruitive activities described in flowery language. All I want, life after life, is unmotivated devotional service to you.
Okay, Drona, I'm going to go back to number 1.
Okay.
Mother, always so wonderful.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So I'm going to just read a little from Borijan Prabhu, because there's 7 effects to chanting the holy name, and Borijan separates them. It says here, to strengthen our faith and increase our enthusiasm to chant Krishna's holy names, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu listed in Shashastika's opening verse 7 perfections that arise from chanting. Let there be all victory for the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna, which can cleanse the mirror of the heart and stop the miseries of the blazing fire of material existence. That chanting is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all living entities. It is the life and soul of all education. The chanting of the holy name of Krishna expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. It gives a cooling effect to everyone and enables one to taste full nectar at every step. So this is the first stanza. Chaito Dharpana Marjanam. Chanting Krishna's name cleanses Marjanam, the mirror, Dharpana, of the heart, Chaitas. Because We have taken so many births during which we filled our consciousness with dust, dirt, material desire, and unlimited other material impressions. The mirror of the heart has become buried. Our consciousness has been covered for millions of years. Imagine a mirror covered by 30 kilometers of dust. If we were to look in such a mirror, what would we see? We certainly won't see ourselves. We would see only dust. When we see ourselves only through material consciousness and then act based on what we perceive, it means the dirt in the heart is reacting only with itself. Who we truly are remains forever unperceivable. But chanting cleanses the mirror of the heart and consciousness. This cleansing process can take years, even lifetimes, or we can complete it in a moment if we chant Krishna's name even once without offense. The Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 15:107 states, Eka Krishna Name Kare Sarva Papa Shaya. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna once, a person is relieved from all the reaction of a sinful life. End of quote. Pure chanting can remove our whole material existence and establish us as loving servants of Krishna. So unfortunately, I didn't have this so we could print it out. But did you see, these are the effects that we should experience from chanting the holy name. And when you think of what we've gone through, in other words, when you think of the different processes that we've learned from the Nam Rahasya about the reasons that we commit offenses, or that, you know, the things that we have an attraction to things other than Krishna. We're subservient to Maya, affectionate and subservient to Maya, you know. So there's a list there. There's 4 reasons why we commit offenses. What is speaking of the anartas, the avidyas, and the aparats. The offenses we commit, the seeding things in the heart, and the offenses we commit towards devotees. So it's the unwanted things are the anartas, the offenses we constantly commit, and ignorance. And ignorance is so interesting because the ignorance keeps us thinking that we are our body, we are our mind, we are the doer, the controller. This is blatant ignorance. And to the extent that we don't take shelter of the holy name, then the real light of the reality of who we are is not able to manifest. You see, the chanting is so effective, it's such a necessary process for us, because the cleansing, the mirror of the heart, the removing that dust, enables us to really begin to see ourselves as we truly are, not connecting with dust, so dirt on dirt, you know, ignorance on dirt. No. So it's so important that we chant and receive the effects of chanting the holy name. And even if our environment, the environment that we're in is an environment of passion and ignorance. That is the environment that we're born into. And as time is progressing, it's more ignorance infused with passion. So we're busy, but we take shelter of so many wrong things that the consciousness is being so covered. Prabhupada said, it's like polished cats and dogs, and we're not being so polished anymore. Our reactions are so animalistic. So this is the effect of chanting the holy name. It cleanses us. It enables us to see. And at the same time, it gives us the strength to desire to become elevated to goodness. But to speak of the pure heart, pure goodness, reestablishing that loving relationship which is dormant with Krishna. Very, very powerful. And so for those of you who have Nam Rahasya, if you go back and look at some of the things we've learned, and just think of this one Shashastika prayer, this first prayer, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, and see how you can apply some of the things that you've learned, some of the things that you've heard. Apply them so that we can move forward with making our chanting better. Ultimately, no, there's no technique, no information, there's nothing which can really make us chant the holy name nicely. The only thing that we're dependent on is Krishna's mercy. It's like that analogy that Maharaj gives in the living name about the temple and the 3 gates to the temple. And you go through the first gate, and as you go in, there's another wall, and there's a second gate. You have to open that second gate. And the third gate, there would be the deity. But when we're chanting, we go through these different gates, the gross aspect and the consciousness and the mind. And then when we get to the third door, that third gate, that gate must be opened from within. In other words, we don't open that gate. It's not within our power to open that gate. That gate has to be opened by the Supreme Lord. So we want to use everything we have to convince Krishna that this time I'm serious. This time I'm asking for your help. Please, Radhe, hey Radha, Krishna, please engage me in your service. We're trying to get them to open that third door. And so this is the process of Krishna consciousness. And I want to just use this first stanza. By next week, I'll figure a way to go through the other 8 nicely. But I felt as though because we've hit in this particular book that we're reading, because we've come to Lord Chaitanya's mercy of the Shashastika, why go further? Why not really try to make sure that we're chanting the whole Shashastika? We'll go through them now, but on your own, you should copy them down and study those prayers. We used to chant them every day. You study them and chant them. And now together, because of the sweetness of the devotees, because the devotees who've been chanting for years have tried to mine, they've dug deep to get the value, the jewels from the Shashastikam, they've made it easier for us. So let's try to do this. Now, I'm opening up for questions and comments.
Hare Krishna, Hare.
Hare Krishna, Jay-Z.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, Hare, I just wanted to thank you. Your opening and your whole mood in preaching today was absolutely wonderful, and it's palatable. You can clearly see that you're really absorbed in your devotion and love for Krishna. And I just want to thank you for sharing that with us. I just want to thank you for sharing that with us. And
well, thanks, Jay-Z, but I'm not absorbed. I want to be. I have a little desire. Let's not get it twisted. I have a desire to change the trajectory of my life.
Yes.
I ain't there.
It's showing. I'm just grateful that you're sharing with us.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That means you're hearing the instructions from Guru and Krishna and those sadhakas. You're hearing what they had to say, and it's touching your heart. And because of that, I'm so grateful.
Yes, yes, yeah. So thank you very much for doing this. It's quite wonderful and really wonderful to hear you, speak and talk about your realizations today.
All right. Okay. Let's open it up. Are there any other comments, questions, reflections? And is it all right that we're moving in this way?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I think it is definitely very, we are moving in the right way. I think studying the Sikshashtakam is absolutely necessary, and I think it'll be wonderful. Today, I think, like John Prabhu was saying, it was coming from your heart and we could feel it. And I am grateful that we are able to feel it, I mean, it was coming from your heart and we were also ready to take it. And so I'm grateful for that. The thing that stuck with me today is just, we keep hearing we are not this body, we are, eternal servants of Krishna, but it just sort of sunk in today. It just sunk in. And I think that is so important for us to understand. That is just so basic. Otherwise, we are fluttering in this material world thinking this is it. And we've heard it. I mean, I've heard it so many times. We don't belong here. We don't belong here. We don't belong here. But that we don't belong here just sunk in. And that is why we need to take this process on a lot more seriously than I have so far, and work really, work harder. Like, hopefully I will be able to.
You always enthuse me. I love your reflections, and I love when you're reading, but your reflections, I tell you, are always so mature. But this process is that this shows you how powerful Maya is. Mm. We've been hearing this same stuff for decades, some of us. But Maya is so strong. We have to remember how fragile we're to Tatastha. We only have two bars. If we don't take shelter of Krishna, we're automatically under Maya's protection. And the illusion that is webbed, that is thrown by Maya is amazing. Srila Prabhupada, he defines it so descriptively early in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. He starts talking about the living entity and that the duration of life is shortened. He said, not so much because of insufficient food stuff, but because of the living entity's bewilderment, overeating, drinking, smoking, gambling, pilfering. He says, cinemas, sports, all these different diversions, they zap the very vitality of human existence. We're spinning. The politicians used to have a thing called the spin room. And in that room, they would take as truth and they would spin it, to their own particular liking. In other words, in the spin room, you could make a lie and it wasn't considered a lie, you put a spin on it. Well, that spin room has opened up and now they're spinning the entire American society. But Maya's been spinning us since time immemorial, I mean, we become so diverted, our attention span is always going to the objects of the senses, trying to exploit or enjoy the objects of the senses. When that's bodily conception of life. We have nothing to do with that. Well, I've got my family, I got to take care of my responsibilities. It's true. But your real responsibility is that every moment, every day you're dying. Your body, your vehicle, which can be considered a boon if you use it right, your vehicle is running out. Your karmic Time is running out. So unless we utilize the human form of life with clarity towards elevation, then naturally we're moving towards degradation. Not just degradation of consciousness in this lifetime, but to speak of continuously, from the habits that we have, the gross meat eating, intoxication, gambling, the illicit connection, these things, they just bring us so low that without the injection of a devotee's kindness, you feel like that the animal kingdom is going to be immense, it's going to be packed, By the grace of Krishna, Nahabi Kramana Sosti, Pratyavayana Vichase, Swapamapiya Shadama Shatrite Mato Baget. He says, speaking of this endeavor in spiritual life, there's no loss of diminution. Just a little advancement on this path protects one from the most dangerous type of fear. So Prabhupada said that's going down to the animal kingdom. So just see the devotees given the name, given prasadam, showing the deities. This all changes the trajectory, of the life of a lot of the living entities. So we take this to be the all in all because there's so much pressure and because it threatens our continuance. So I get it. I'm a part of this society. But in prison is in prison. At least if you know that you're in prison, this is not my natural environment. My natural environment is somewhere else. I've got to get out of the prison. So you work in the prison following certain rules and regulations, but you work to get out. And we can be freed because it's an elevation of consciousness. The consciousness. When we associate with the scriptures, Jnana, the knowledge, Divyam, the transcendental knowledge, takes us off of the mundane plane. And so from that transcendental knowledge, then we get an opportunity to see who we really are, what spiritual life is really about. Even if we feel tied, that our hands are tied, at least we can desire. And that desire is action. What's subtle is bound to become gross. So that desire is spinning a different situation for ourselves. And that's changed from the association of devotees. What to speak of the association of the holy name? If chanted once with faith or in derision, you become living. It's done. Don't go down to the Jamuna and see, the little blue boy. Don't go see him, So it's like that. Once we chant the holy name, Krishna has touched your life. It's very, very powerful. And the trick is to take association. Let's not just get together and talk about what's going on and how much material advancement we're making. Oh gosh, she had a great dress on today. Did you see this? Oh, she was gorgeous. Nice, nice, nice. And the men have their own line of Japa, useless village talk. But let's talk about Krishna. Just keep Krishna on your lips. Tell something you've read, something you aspire for, something you remember. The jewels, your classes are so rich, things that you take from the classes. All these things make it easier to wake up the next morning and take shelter of the holy name. So. Anyway, I think it's good for us. Vishal?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Are you there?
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
It's a shame. I love to bother you because I still think you and Madhavan, when I first met you, I said, y'all my little brothers, So I've always been a younger brother. And my older brothers, they always looked out for me. They wanted to make sure that I was getting Krishna consciousness. Before my brother left this world, he was so happy. He said, I knew all I had to do was get you to calm down with your crazy self and come to the temple and that you take Krishna consciousness seriously. I said, you're nuts. Why do you think that? He said, because I know you. Well, that's still out. The jury is still out on that, but that's for yourself. I see you coming, chanting and trying. So you should know the only reason why I bother you, I'm always trying to see that you come closer and take what Krishna has to offer. Your dad is being so kind. Now I'm an advocate of your, I'm assisting your dad.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I have something to share, Prabhu.
I love to hear your sharing.
Thank you. Actually, I got sick too, so I couldn't even, I couldn't wake up to even switch on my laptop, so I used the phone because I just need to use 2 clicks just to get to this class. Thank you so much for today's class. I have some reflection to share. I read the second book that you gave me, and one word that stood out from that book was spiritual heart. The first book that you gave me, I think it was Broken Names or The Living Name or something like
Yes.
that book, the takeaway word was spiritual intelligence. Like, how do you use spiritual intelligence to deal any situation in your life? And the second book, the standout word, the entire book, every page, every line was very sweet, and it was very, the whole book was very calming to read. And there is more to chanting, not just the chanting. The author put so many life philosophies and verses from the Gita and a mishmash of all the ISKCON philosophy into that book. The second book was even more enjoyable and more, holy to read. You feel holy when you read that book. And the word that stood out and the takeaway message from that book was spiritual heart. Yes, you have the material heart. Spiritual heart. It's that heart that we all should aspire for. We should all aspire for a spiritual heart. At least, we should think that our heart is not the materialistic heart or the physical heart where we make sure that we eat good foods to keep the heart healthy, and it pumps the blood in and out, and we live like for 100 years or 120 years. Yes, you need the physical heart too to help us sustain in life, but the more important thing about the heart is the spiritual heart. And that spiritual heart comes from all these the Vaishnava good qualities and the Krishna qualities that we all are aspiring in the purest form of those qualities, and without any contamination and without any impurities. And we will know it. If I'm impure, I'll know it myself, and my conscience will obviously tell me that. So the takeaway word from that book was, the second book was spiritual heart, and it's very important to focus our energies and take the japa and the mantra and all these tools and techniques to make it as pure as possible. So thank you for that book, and I'll return the book to Devi Mataji. I think after she reads, probably that can be distributed with everybody else in the Sangha. No. I want others also to read the book. I have read the book, Prabhuji. After you read the book.
Let me tell you what the author said, okay? That's called Living Names. He said that if you read the introduction, he says, I don't want this to be a book that you read finished and done. He said, this is a book. It has different practices. As you improve, as you go on in your chanting and return to the book, you will find that the book will open up more and more for you and will help you deepen your understanding of your relationship with Krishna. Go back to the introduction and read that was the prescription given in that book. We're going to go to that book, and you've got a head start. First, we're going to do Shashastika, but the Living Names, I felt as though we weren't ready for that book. And because you always do so many things, I figured the more I can let you read about Krishna, the more calm you'll become. So I'm bombarding you. And instead of letting you bombard me with stuff, I'm going to give you so much Krishna that you just have to sort through the different Krishna and figure out. But keep that book. If you need something to give someone, I'll give you a book to give to someone. But that book you keep, because that book is going to open up, and you're going to be shocked when you return to that book. As you continue to chant, as you continue to grow, and see yourself as a tiny, insignificant servant, then that book is going to open like fire. So, but read the introduction by the author. Okay, devotees.
Thank you, Hari Ashra Prabhu. And I hope that you feel better. We know that you were in some pain there. What is it? Your leg or your?
No, it's my back. I don't have a cleaner anymore, so I went downstairs last Sunday and I started cleaning the walls, and I was tearing the place up downstairs. It was getting great, and all of a sudden something happened, and I pulled one muscle that ain't been used or something, but it's going to get better. I know Mother Sangita, she's always going through so many things. I don't see how she does it, but she keeps moving. So if Mother Sangita can keep going, I can keep trying a little bit too.
Well, I hope that it heals up very quickly and you don't have to go through too much today.
Me too.
Make sure you rest. Make sure you rest, and we're definitely grateful that you spent this time with us today.
Well, one thing I want to leave devotees with is that I have to find a way that we can close. I have to find a way that we can close with kirtan. I don't know how to do it yet because, the call and response doesn't work. But I have so many intelligent people that come here every week. Think of a way that at the end we can be together in kirtan. Because Japa, from your Japa, it will eventually lead you to singing, to glorify Krishna, because the mantra will stay with you. When you chant good Japa, the mantra stays. First is in your head, and then you say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. When you find something wonderful, you want to tell the world, you want to sing about it. So the holy name is like that. The more we chant it, then we want to chant extra, then we want to sing about it. So this is the Sankirtan movement. We need to chant. We need to chant together the holy name. I tell you what, this is what we can do. We can close. We can close like this. Jay-Z.
Yes, Prabhu.
A few bars of Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
I want more.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hello.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Krishna.
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna.
Hare Hare,
Hello.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya.
Jaya Gora Nitai, 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 Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
Go
to Premanande.
Hare Hare Bo.
Thanks, Jay-Z. Thank you, devotees. Vanchu Kapachub Discha Kripa Sindhu Deva Cha. Jasti Tanam